What if everything you thought you knew about 9/11 was only part of the story? What if behind the smoke and rubble there were secrets so big they had to be buried fast? Today we'll uncover shocking evidence, testimonies, and inconsistencies that suggest the truth about September 11th may have been hidden in plain sight. This is not just another conspiracy theory. This is about asking questions the government never wanted you to ask. Stay until the end, because what you're about to hear might change how you see the world forever. If you believe truth deserves to be uncovered, hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video to boost the algorithm and make sure others see this information. And tell us in the comments, do you think we've been told the whole truth about 9/11? Your voice matters, and together we can demand real answers. Now let's dive in. On the afternoon of September 11th, long after the Twin Towers had fallen, another skyscraper in New York mysteriously collapsed. Building 7. It wasn't hit by a plane. It stood several hundred feet from the World Trade Center. Yet in just 7 seconds, the entire 47-story steel structure fell in a near-perfect free fall. The official report? Fires weakened the steel frame. But to many experts, that explanation defies physics and common sense. In April 2025, U.S. Senator Ron Johnson reignited the controversy by proposing new investigations into the event. He questioned the integrity of the original possibility of a controlled demolition could no longer be ignored. This came after years of advocacy by engineers, architects, and whistleblowers who have challenged the government's narrative. Architects and Engineers for 9/11's Truth, a group of over 3,500 professionals, argues that only explosives could have caused such a rapid symmetrical collapse. They point out the uniform descent, the pulverization of materials, and the presence of molten metal found in the debris, all signs consistent with demolition. Yet, no official agency has ever tested for explosives in the Building 7 debris. Adding to the mystery is the fact that Building 7 housed offices for the CIA, the Secret Service, and the Securities and Exchange Commission. Some believe the collapse may have destroyed sensitive documents related to major financial investigations, including files on Enron and WorldCom. Why wasn't this building's fall part of the official 9/11's Commission report? Why did mainstream media ignore it for so long? Even today, most Americans don't know that a third tower fell that day, and those who do know are often left with more questions than answers. As Senator Johnson said in a recent interview, "If we don't find the truth, we'll never restore trust." And in the case of Building 7, the truth still seems buried under the rubble. In June 2024, a video surfaced showing Omar al-Bayoumi, a suspected Saudi spy, filming U.S. landmarks in 9/11's hijackers. It was later providing them with support upon their arrival in the U.S. This video has been cited in ongoing legal cases, aiming to hold Saudi Arabia accountable for its alleged involvement. The 28 pages declassified in 2016 detail investigative leads suggesting financial and logistical support provided to the hijackers by individuals connected to the Saudi government. In April 2025, Senators Richard Blumenthal and John Cornyn wrote to the agency's apparent failure to disclose evidence about Omar al-Bayoumi to the 9/11's Commission and the CIA during their investigations. These developments have reignited debates about the extent of Saudi involvement in the attacks and the transparency of the investigations that followed. Families of 9/11's victims continue to pursue legal action against the Saudi government. seeking accountability and answers that have remained elusive for over 2 decades. In recent years, there has been a concerted effort to declassify documents related to the 9/11 attacks. In 2025, the National Declassification Center released a listing of 38 declassification projects, consisting of over 300,000 pages, now available for researcher requests. These documents include materials from military and civilian agencies, providing new insights into the events leading up to and following the attacks. The CIA has also released a collection of reports and memoranda from the Counterterrorist Center. 9/11 Despite these releases, many families and researchers argue that crucial information remains hidden, and they continue to advocate for full transparency. The push for declassification is not just about uncovering the past, but also about ensuring accountability and preventing future tragedies. Recent reports have highlighted lapses in the sharing of critical information within the FBI and between intelligence agencies. A CBS News investigation revealed that evidence turned over to the FBI in the weeks after 9/11 was never shared with the Bureau's own field agents or top intelligence officials. This evidence includes a chilling video of a Saudi national filming the U.S. Capitol, raising questions about the thoroughness of the original investigations. The failure to disseminate such crucial information has led to renewed scrutiny of the FBI's handling of the case and calls for internal reforms. Former agents and officials have expressed frustration over the lack of transparency and the potential missed opportunities to prevent the attacks. These revelations underscore the importance of effective communication and coordination among intelligence agencies to safeguard national security. Families of 9/11's victims have long sought justice through the legal system, filing lawsuits against the Saudi government for its alleged role in the attacks. Newly unsealed documents have provided more detailed views of the evidence gathered on the accused 9/11's mastermind, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, and others. These documents shed light on the interactions between the hijackers and their supporters, offering new avenues for legal accountability. The legal proceedings have been complex and protracted, with the Saudi government denying any involvement and seeking to dismiss the lawsuits. However, the persistence of the victims' families and the emergence of new evidence have kept the cases alive and in the public eye. The outcomes of these legal battles could have significant implications for international relations and the pursuit of justice for terrorism victims. The events of September 11, 2001 left an indelible mark on the world, and the quest for truth and accountability continues to this day. The emergence of new evidence, the declassification of documents, and the ongoing legal battles underscore the complexities of uncovering the full story. As we reflect on the past, it's crucial to ask difficult questions and demand transparency from our institutions. Only through a comprehensive understanding of the events and the factors that led to them can we hope to prevent future tragedies. The pursuit of truth is not just about the past. It's about building a safer and more accountable future for all. One of the most controversial threads in the 9/11's narrative involves Saudi Arabia. For years, the U.S. government denied any direct connection between the Saudi royal family and the hijackers. Yet, deeper investigations have pointed to disturbing coincidences. Several of the attackers had undeniable ties to individuals with connections to the Saudi government, men who helped them find housing, obtain documents, and even receive flight training. Could these have been rogue actors operating independently, or was there a more coordinated effort hidden beneath layers of diplomacy and secrecy? Much of the suspicion focuses on Omar al-Bayoumi, a man who posed as a student but had apparent ties to Saudi intelligence. Just months before the attacks, he conveniently befriended two of the key hijackers and provided them with logistical support. Despite these links, al-Bayoumi was never thoroughly investigated by U.S. intelligence, and the official reports were careful not to draw hard conclusions. Why would someone with such a profile receive a free pass? The possibility that elements within the Saudi state may have been complicit, or at least aware of the plot, has never been ruled out entirely. What's even more disturbing is how the U.S. government appeared to actively suppress this angle of investigation. For years, 28 pages of the 9/11 Commission report were classified pages that detail suspicious Saudi financial activity and connections to the hijackers. When they were finally declassified, it was clear they raised more questions than they answered. If the public had known the content of these pages earlier, would the political landscape between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia have shifted dramatically? Critics argue that the close relationship between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia, a relationship built on oil, arms deals, and mutual geopolitical interests, created a barrier to truth. Exposing Saudi involvement could have led to diplomatic chaos and massive economic consequences. So instead, silence was chosen. The victims' families have spent years fighting in court for the right to sue the Saudi government, but time and again, roadblocks appear, evidence or political interference. At the heart of this chapter lies a chilling thought. Were the deaths of nearly 3,000 innocent people downplayed to preserve international alliances? If even a fraction of the allegations against Saudi individuals is true, then the American public was betrayed not just by foreign enemies, but by leaders who chose politics over justice. The truth may never be fully known, but the suspicion remains, festering in the cracks of official narratives. While the Twin Towers received most of the attention, the attack on the Pentagon raises perhaps even more baffling questions. According to official reports, American Airlines Flight 77 slammed into the western side of the building at 530 miles per hour, creating a massive fireball and leaving a gaping hole. But skeptics have long pointed out inconsistencies in the physical evidence, particularly the lack of visible aircraft debris. No wings, no engines, no significant fuselage fragments really disappear on impact. 757 security camera footage of the Pentagon strike remains limited. The few frames released show a fireball, but no clear image of a plane. Eyewitness accounts are conflicting. Some claim they saw a plane, while others insist it was a missile or a much smaller aircraft. The hole in the wall measured roughly 16 to 20 feet in diameter, far too small for a commercial jetliner with a wingspan of over 120 feet. So where did the wings go? Damage? Why did even more curious more the timing of renovations on that specific wing of the Pentagon? That section had recently been reinforced and had fewer staff present than other areas. Was this a coincidence, or did someone know in advance where the impact would occur? Furthermore, key financial documents were housed in the Pentagon offices that were destroyed. Just one day prior, on September 10th, Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld admitted that over $2.3 trillion in Pentagon funds were unaccounted. That investigation quietly disappeared after the attack, For years, officials claimed that the heat from the crash incinerated the plane. But in most crashes, even high-impact ones, significant debris remains. Why was this incident different? Critics argue that the absence of parts isn't just suspicious, it's implausible. The idea that a large jetliner could completely vaporize on impact defies both physics and historical precedent. And if the official story doesn't match the evidence, this chapter leaves us staring into one of the darkest corners of the 9/11 event, one that remains unresolved in the minds of many. Was the Pentagon strike part of a greater orchestration, perhaps meant to destroy records, eliminate specific targets, or generate national fear? We may never know, but silence and censorship around this attack have only fueled further doubt. One of the most disturbing aspects of the 9/11 attacks is how the most powerful military world failed to protect its own airspace. On that morning, 4 commercial airplanes were hijacked and flown off course for over an hour, and yet not a single fighter jet intercepted them. NORAD, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, was tasked with protecting U.S. airspace. So why did it fail? The timeline provided by officials is full of delays, confusion, and contradictory statements. First, they claimed they didn't know the planes were hijacked in time. Later, they admitted they tracking at least 2 of them, but scrambled jets too late. In some cases, the jets were sent in the wrong direction or told to hold patterns. This chaotic response has been blamed on miscommunication, outdated protocols, or simple human error. But for many, these explanations fall flat. What makes the situation even more troubling is that on the very same day, the military was conducting wargame exercises, some of which simulated hijacked planes crashing into buildings. These drills reportedly caused confusion in the air traffic control system, as operators struggled to distinguish real threats from simulated ones. The odds of such a coincidence seem astronomically small. Could these exercises have been used as a smokescreen? Key officials, including Vice President Dick Cheney, were in charge of coordinating the response. Questions have been raised about who gave the "stand down" order, if such an order was given. Cheney was in a secure bunker that morning, and testimony from a former transportation secretary suggests that he may have had advanced knowledge of an incoming aircraft but chose not to act. If true, that decision cost hundreds of lives. To this day, the official explanation for NORAD's failure leaves many unanswered questions. Was this an extraordinary breakdown in defense, or an intentional window of vulnerability? In a country that can scramble jets within minutes for far smaller threats, the lack of response on 9/11 remains one of the most haunting and suspicious elements of the tragedy. The days leading up to September 11th saw an unusual spike in financial activity, specifically in put options against United Airlines and American Airlines, the 2 companies whose planes were used in the attacks. A put option is a bet that a stock will fall, and fall they did. Someone, it seems, was betting that those specific companies would suffer massive losses. Was this a coincidence, or did someone have foreknowledge of the attacks? These transactions were so suspicious that the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, launched an investigation shortly after 9/11. What they found was troubling. Large trades were made through anonymous accounts, route through offshore banks and shell corporations. Some of these trades returned profits of up to 3,000%. The SEC eventually declared they found no link between the traders and the terrorists, but the lack of transparency around the investigation continues to raise eyebrows. Adding to the mystery is the destruction of financial documents during the attacks themselves. Both the World Trade Center and Building 7 housed records from the SEC, the IRS, and major banking institutions. Many of those documents were lost forever. Were these just collateral damage, or were they targeted intentionally? And if these records had survived, would they have pointed to something deeper? Many independent researchers believe that 9/11 was not just a terror attack, it was also a financial crime. In the chaos that followed, trillions of dollars were reallocated through defense contracts, surveillance programs, and wars. The industries that benefited most were the ones closest to the centers of power: military contractors, oil giants, and intelligence firms. Did they know something the public didn't? If someone profited from the deaths of thousands, they must be held accountable. But over 2 decades later, the paper trail remains fragmented, the players hidden behind layers of corporate secrecy. As the old saying goes, follow the money. And in the case of 9/11, the money leads to some very dark places. In the immediate aftermath of the attacks, the media became the government's loudest megaphone. News outlets repeated official statements without scrutiny, aired emotional footage on loop, and stoked a national atmosphere of fear and rage. The public, traumatized and seeking answers, was handed a neatly packaged narrative that 19 hijackers, directed by Osama bin Laden from a cave, the most powerful nation in the world, completely off guard. But as the years passed, cracks in that story began to show. Mainstream outlets rarely covered inconsistencies or dissenting voices. Experts who questioned the official account were labeled conspiracy theorists and dismissed outright. Debates about Building 7, the Pentagon strike, and NORAD's failure were relegated to internet forums and independent documentaries. Why did major media refuse to investigate these glaring questions? They complicit or just cowardly? In truth, many media giants have deep ties to government and corporate interests. Defense contractors advertise on major networks. Journalists rely on access to political figures to keep their careers alive. Rocking the boat can mean losing sources, funding, and credibility within elite circles. And so, stories that challenged the status quo were buried before they could gain traction. Even now, efforts to discuss 9/11 critically are met with censorship on platforms. Videos are demonetized, throttled, or taken down entirely. The narrative is protected not because it's proven, but because it serves powerful interests. Control the narrative and you control the people. The war on truth is just as real as the war on terror. For a democracy to survive, its media must be fearless. Instead, ours became a tool of distraction and manipulation. When journalism becomes propaganda, truth becomes a casualty. Didn't just fail, 9/11 sealed the media. In the wake of the Roswell incident, a new theory began to take shape, one that stretched the limits of imagination: Project Serpo. According to supposed whistleblowers and classified documents, the U.S. government not only recovered alien beings in Roswell, but later established contact and diplomatic relations with their species. Project Serpo allegedly involved an exchange program where 12 American military personnel were sent to the aliens' home planet in the Zeta Reticuli system. In return, the extraterrestrials, called EBENs, shared advanced technologies and insights into their civilization. This tale was first publicly revealed in the early 2000s by an anonymous source known as Anonymous who claimed to be a former government insider. He released a series of detailed emails describing the journey to Serpo, the years the astronauts spent there, and the scientific data they collected. The information was so detailed down to daily life on Serpo that it baffled even the most skeptical researchers. Could such an outlandish story be real? Or was it a carefully planted misinformation campaign to mask real events or test public reaction to disclosure? Regardless, Project Serpo tapped into a deeper narrative that Roswell was just the beginning of a secret relationship between humans and extraterrestrials, one that continues to this day in the shadows of black-budget projects. Another key piece in the Roswell puzzle is Majestic 12, often abbreviated as MJ-12. This alleged secret committee was supposedly created by President Harry Truman after the Roswell crash. Its mission? To oversee all alien-related matters, including crash retrieval, communication, and cover-up operations. Documents surfaced in the 1980s that outlined MJ-12's existence, with names of high-ranking military and scientific personnel attached, some of whom had confirmed roles in national security. MJ-12 documents critics quickly labeled, but others argued the opposite, that their very denial was proof of their authenticity. Numerous UFO researchers, including Stanton Friedman, spent decades verifying the documents and interviewing insiders. MJ-12 has since become a cornerstone of deep-state alien control theories, believed by many to be the hidden hand guiding the suppression of the truth. If MJ-12 is real, it suggests an invisible government operating beyond public oversight, tasked humanity's contact with non-human intelligence. And if that's true, Roswell was merely their first assignment. One of the most provocative theories stemming from the Roswell incident is that the United States secretly reverse-engineered alien technology recovered from the crash site. From fiber optics to integrated circuits, night vision to stealth technology, many claim that our greatest technological leaps in the late 20th century weren't purely human innovation. They were borrowed from another world. Former aerospace engineers like Boyd Bushman, who worked at Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works, have claimed that alien crafts and bodies were housed at facilities like Area 51, where reverse engineering efforts were ongoing. Philip Corso, a former U.S. Army colonel, wrote in his book The Day After Roswell that he personally oversaw the distribution of alien technology to American corporations under the guise of conventional research. The implications are staggering. If Roswell changed the course of human history, it did so in complete secrecy, shaping the modern world with the science of beings from beyond the stars. If the government knew the truth, why hide it? One compelling theory suggests that the Roswell cover-up is part of a broader psychological operation designed to control public perception. By mixing truth with absurdity, authorities create confusion, erode trust, and ultimately bury the facts under layers of speculation. This strategy, called limited hangout, leaks some real information while masking the full truth behind it. Decades of disinformation, silenced witnesses, and media manipulation have created a fog around Roswell so thick that no one knows what to believe. Was it a crash, a test, a psyop, or all three at once? The goal, some say, was never to deny everything, but to make the truth unprovable. Roswell then becomes more than a crash site. It becomes a psychological battleground where reality is shaped by those who control narrative. After all these years, one question remains: why does Roswell matter? Is it because it was the first encounter with alien life, or because it set the stage for an entire era of government secrecy and public mistrust? Perhaps the biggest secret of Roswell is not what crashed, but why the truth was buried so deep. Some researchers argue that Roswell was a test case, a moment where the government realized just how much control it could exert over the flow of information. Others suggest the real event was much more profound, possibly even interdimensional or spiritual in nature, and Roswell became the perfect distraction to hide deeper truths. The truth about Roswell may never be officially disclosed, but maybe it doesn't have to be, because in the silence and secrecy surrounding it, the Roswell incident continues to awaken curiosity, provoke questions, and remind us of one haunting possibility. We are not alone. Few places in the world have captured the imagination like Area 51, officially known as a U.S. Air Force testing facility. Area 51 has long been rumored to be the epicenter of the Roswell aftermath. According to insiders and whistleblowers, it is where alien spacecraft, recovered debris, and even biological entities were transported for study and reverse engineering. The secrecy surrounding this remote desert base fuels speculation that it holds answers the government desperately wants to keep hidden. Despite intense public curiosity Freedom of Information Act requests, Area 51 remains shrouded in mystery. Its official existence was only acknowledged by the U.S. government in 2013, decades after the Roswell incident. This delay, combined with strict no-fly zones and high-security measures, has only deepened the aura of conspiracy. What kind of technologies or life forms could be hidden behind its guarded gates? Many believe it's the site where human technology was leapfrogged thanks to extraterrestrial discoveries. Moreover, reports of strange lights, unidentified flying objects, and bizarre experiments near the base have sparked endless debate. Area 51, in many ways, symbolizes the thin veil between official denial and the hidden truth. Over the decades, numerous witnesses have come forward with astonishing claims related to Roswell and alien encounters. From ranchers who saw strange debris scattered across the desert, to military personnel who described being sworn to silence, these testimonies form a crucial part of the Roswell narrative. One of the most compelling accounts came from Major Jesse Marcel, the intelligence officer who first investigated the crash site. Marcel publicly stated that the debris was not from any earthly craft, but something otherworldly. Other whistleblowers have revealed encounters with alien beings, secret autopsies performed on recovered bodies, and covert meetings between government officials and extraterrestrials. Many of these individuals faced harassment, career destruction, or worse after going public. Their stories, while difficult to fully verify, paint a chilling picture of a vast conspiracy designed to keep the truth buried. These voices from the shadows remind us that behind the official silence, there are people who risked everything to expose what they knew. Their courage keeps the flame of truth alive. Less well-known but equally mysterious is the so-called Fireball Incident of 1947. Just days before the Roswell crash, witnesses across southwestern United States reported seeing a massive fireball streak across the sky, exploding with a brilliant flash. Some ufologists argue this was the actual moment the alien craft began to malfunction, setting the stage for the subsequent crash near Roswell. The timing and trajectory of the fireball remain a subject of debate, with skeptics attributing it to a meteor or military test. However, its occurrence within the same time frame adds another layer to the mysterious events unfolding. That summer, was the fireball a warning sign, a prelude to a cover-up, or part of an elaborate narrative designed to confuse? Linking the fireball incident with Roswell helps paint a fuller picture of a critical moment in history, one where our world may have first collided with something truly alien. The media has played a dual role in shaping public perception of Roswell. On one hand, sensational headlines and tabloid stories brought attention to the incident, keeping it alive in popular culture. On the other hand, mainstream news outlets often dismissed Roswell-related claims as conspiracy theories, promoting skepticism and ridicule. This dynamic creates what experts call a controlled narrative, where public opinion is carefully steered. By mixing truth with fiction, media coverage ensures that serious inquiries are met with doubt, while wild speculation dominates the conversation. This tactic benefits those who want to keep the truth hidden by discrediting credible witnesses and scientists alike. Moreover, Hollywood's fascination with alien stories has both popularized and trivialized the Roswell story. Blockbuster movies and TV shows keep the mystery in the spotlight, but often blur the line between fact and fiction, leaving audiences unsure what to believe. Imagine waking up to a world where the government finally admits the truth. Extraterrestrials visited Earth, crashed at Roswell, and their technology has influenced our modern life. The implications would be religions, science, and politics would all face seismic shifts. The public would demand answers. What do these beings want? Are they friend or foe? How advanced is their technology, and how might it change our future? Some experts argue that full disclosure could unite humanity, inspiring us to look beyond national borders and cooperate on a cosmic scale. Others fear it could cause panic, social upheaval, or even conflict. The idea of a post-disclosure society raises complex and our place in the universe. Until that day comes, the Roswell incident remains a symbol of hidden knowledge and unasked questions. Whether it's truth or myth, its legacy continues to challenge us to keep searching, questioning, and never settling for easy answers. After decades of secrecy, conflicting reports, and relentless speculation, the Roswell incident remains one of the most captivating mysteries in modern history. Whether it was a simple military accident, a covert experiment, or a genuine encounter with extraterrestrial life, the truth has been carefully hidden behind layers of government silence and misinformation. The stories of recovered alien technology, secret programs, and shadowy committees reveal just how much we don't know and how much the powers that be want to keep it that way. But the thirst for answers continues. The Roswell legacy reminds us that in a world full of secrets, it's our curiosity, skepticism, and courage keep the search for truth alive. It challenges us to question what we've been told, to look deeper, and to never stop wondering, are we truly alone? If you found this journey into the hidden truths of Roswell eye-opening, make sure to hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss future deep dives into secrets the government doesn't want you to know. Give this video a like if you believe the truth is out there, and share your thoughts down below. What do you think really happened at Roswell? Let's get the conversation started. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes the greatest mysteries are the ones hiding in plain sight. Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning.